little ball. Now I had my best.
And then I can't take the
the other
medicine
guy.
for a couple of days
I
after.
mean, I shot at 84. The next closest, who was the local member, shot at 99. The other two guys were at 100.
That's
His
why
first was not
that's
easy.
why I'd rather fish, because even if you don't catch anything, it's a good
Yeah,
day.
you tell me when it will start raining.
Harry Brown was at the freaking Montauk. Montauk is another 15 miles further east than where we played back. I said, that's why I saw him yesterday. I said, there's no way in the world there's anything that would be of value to fish.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Mount Olive Township Workshop and Council meeting for June 13th, 2018. If you would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence for all those who paid the ultimate sacrifice to protect us. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Michelle, would you read the Open Public Meetings Act, please?
According to the Open Public Meetings Act with notice of this meeting has been given to the Daily Record. Notice has been posted in the Municipal Building, 204 Flanders Drakestown Road, Bud Lake, New Jersey, and notices were sent to those requesting the same.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Amianda.
Here.
Mr. Ferrante. Mrs. Laybow.
Here,
Mr. Mania.
Here.
Mr. Stewart.
Here.
Mr. Roman.
Here.
Mr. Nicastro.
Here. Yep. That's it.
I'd just like to address everyone in the public. Thank you for being here tonight. We understand that many of you are probably here to make comments regarding a Facebook posting that recently occurred. We want everybody here to have the opportunity to be heard. There will be a time limit imposed so that no one person monopolizes the floor, and so everybody does have the opportunity to be heard. Traditionally, for municipalities, that's been 3 minutes, but our office has suggested that that be expanded to 5 minutes so everyone can feel like they can truly be heard. But that will be subject to a motion and the decision by council. During the public session, anyone who speaks is welcome to do so. We would ask that you come up to the podium and provide your name and address for the record, which is what's normally done. After everyone is done speaking, then all the council members will have an opportunity to provide comments. There's no legal responsibility or duty for council to respond to comments by the public at any time, at any meeting. So this really isn't an opportunity to engage in conversation or have a discourse. This is an opportunity for you as residents or non-residents to give your thoughts on either side of this issue, and then for the council members to do the same. So that's sort of how the process will work. And at this point, I will turn it back over to the council president.
Thank you. Mr. Roman?
I'd like to make a motion to limit public discussion to 5 minutes.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All, we need a roll call?
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Amianda.
Yes.
Mrs. Laybow.
yes,
Mr. Mania.
Yes.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes.
Mr. Roman.
Yes.
Mr. Nicastro.
Yes. With that, I'd like to address the issue of some Facebook posts that were used in an article. The memes and posts used by the writer of this paper were used in an editorial fashion. The writer questioned me on a couple of posts that I explained, and he wrote factually about those. The other posts he picked up and editorialized for purposes I still don't understand. I have always had my private Facebook open to the public because I never had felt to hide anything and then a need to keep it private. Posts do have a way of being misinterpreted by people that don't actually know the person posting them. I can see how that happens in the world of posts, tweets, and text. It is difficult to read or know a person by a few electronic messages. If the post I had posted offended anyone, and that was never my intent, I do apologize for anyone that took them the wrong way. The majority of my posts are not political in nature. I post a daily message of the day to lift up people, a corny joke every day to make people laugh, even a Facebook page requests a prayer to help people who need prayers. When it comes to political parties, I have been consistent when speaking in public and in posts that there are extremists on both sides of the aisle, and I would never lump everyone from either political party into one group. I have also been consistent in stating both national parties I have issues with as a whole. I love Mount Olive and care about the community. Although I never like to speak about it, my family and I hold a Thanksgiving dinner every year in Mount Olive for people that are alone and less fortunate, with no discrimination of anyone from any walk of life. We in our business do what we can to help promote nonprofits, organizations, as well as residents who are in need and want to get the message out. I have always and will always represent all people, and certainly don't see a person as one party or another, just as a person like myself who lives here and wants to keep our community a great place. Not as an elected official, but as a human being, I respect all people, as well as respecting their opinions, even when disagreeing. I don't take offense to posts I see when opposing views personally, and thought others do the same. I believe in the First Amendment and respect other people's opposing opinions and viewpoints, no matter who they are, and I do not judge someone by a few posts or tweets. Again, I apologize to anyone that was offended. That was not my intent in any way, and I apologize to council for this issue in rising in the first place.
I'm going to open that meeting to the public.
Oh, we're going right to the public? Or are we going down our list? Don't we have to go
Yeah,
to
you
the rest
can
of
go
the
ahead.
things? Okay. Yeah, we have to go down here. The first item for discussion, which is being tabled to our next meeting, was the solicitation ordinance. Next, we have 14 ordinances. Does anyone have any questions or comments or concerns on the 14
Resolutions.
Resolutions, I'm sorry. Yes, Mr. Roman?
I'd like to highlight resolution number 1. I think it's something that is correcting an injustice, in my opinion, and I look forward to having Officer Eastridge back on the force.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we have one ordinance for a second reading. Does anyone have any questions or concerns on that? Seeing none, we have no first ordinances. Do we have any old business? Do we have any new business? Seeing none, I'm opening up the meeting to the public. If anyone wishes the public portion to speak, they can go up to the podium and state their name and address for the record. Mr. Fleshner?
Joseph Fleischner, 34 Karen Place, Bud Lake, New Jersey. I have lived in this town for over 44 years. I have seen politicians come, and I have seen politicians go. I once was a registered Democrat. I then became an independent. Currently, I'm a registered Republican for today. And I can honestly say, in the years that I have known Mr. Nicastro, he is one of the finest gentlemen that I have ever met. He is a true Mount Olive resident, and let me tell you, what he does for this township is incredible, absolutely incredible. I am proud to call him council president. I am proud to call him a resident of Mount Olive, and the only thing I can say is there's a lot of stupid stuff out there, and that's the problem with the internet. Thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate it. Anyone else would like to speak at this time?
My name is Gray Tuttle. I live at 66 River Road, and I just want to read back to you the words that you posted because I'm really confused about them. And this is what you posted. Sexual harassment isn't a problem around here, it's one of the benefits.
I'm sorry?
Sexual harassment isn't a problem around here, it's one of the benefits.
Yes,
and I hope that you can take the time to listen to your constituents when we come to address you, because this is really upsetting. My wife has been harassed at work by her boss's husband, which put her in a very awkward position. And you, as the president of the council, are in a very awkward position to be making statements or sharing statements like this. If you think that's funny, I want you to explain it to me. I also have students who have been sexually harassed, and people in positions of authority should not be making statements like this. And if you feel like you've gotten some benefit from sexual harassment, I'd like to hear about it.
If the post was read correctly, as I stated in my statement when I talked to Mr. Garber, who did not ask me about certain posts, he just put them up. That was put up from an old sign that was found years ago, and I found it ridiculous that we even had that from years ago. And that was the statement on the Facebook page, that I couldn't believe this would never even fly today. It was not any statement that I support. My business hires all women, and I have 90% of the people that work for me as women.
Well, if
and I always have.
Sexual harassment is a benefit.
The question, you asked me a
Hiring
question,
women
and I
might
answered the question
make
based
sense
on
to you.
why it was posted. It was to show how ridiculous we were back 40 years ago when that poster was put up. It had nothing to do with current terms, especially in the environment that we're in today. It's ridiculous that that was even thought of, that it was okay to even have in the workplace years ago. And if the post was read, and if Mr. Garber would have asked me like he did the other post that I explained to him and he correctly posted, it would have been explained in there, but instead he put it up for whatever reason without the explanation and what it was, and it left it to seem like I support that, and that's what it was. And I am far from a supporter of any sort of harassment of any sort, sexual or any other kind. That's why it was there. It had nothing to do with my beliefs, that I believe that, because that would be absurd. And it was there for that reason. That's the only reason it was there. And again, it was taken out of context because it was not put in the paper the proper way, and either on my Facebook post as well.
Given the pattern of the offensive posts and the quotes that come from you, I think that sounds like an unlikely defense. But I think at least, hopefully, you will be more careful about what you share as a public official, because you do not have my support, and I haven't, till today I didn't have any. Until I saw these posts, I didn't have any opinion one way or another. I saw your magazine on a regular basis through the town, seemed fine. But, when I saw that series of posts, I have a very strong opinion, and I don't see any way that you can defend the offensive material that you've put up and that people on your Facebook page have then responded.
I respect your opinion. Thank you. Does anyone else at this time want to be heard?
Irene Sergonis, Mount Olive Road in Bud Lake. I work for a supermarket chain. I'm in the payroll and human resources department. And 5 years ago, we initiated a social media policy because we recognized that posts that were put on the internet could be considered harassment and discrimination against fellow associates, against our customers, and ruin our company brand. So that was 5 years ago. I guess I'm at, why is this allowed to continue? You say you want to run the government like a business. You need to do something proactive to prevent these kind of things. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Anyone else at this time? You can just go up you can just go up and state your name.
Good evening, everyone. Shelley Morningstar, 13 3rd Street, Bud Lake. President Nicastro, I'd like to start by saying that you know that I was interviewed in the article. Phil called me as well, and I shared my comments there, so they don't need repeating here. One of the things I'd like to say, first of all, is the apology that you read this evening, I found to be a little insincere, and I understand that this is a difficult night, that this is difficult conversation and input from the public. I particularly found it difficult to judge the sincerity of it, and I know that you've done good things in this township, sir. When you start by saying, if anyone was offended, you apologize. I actually was contacted 2 days before I saw the article, or that Phil called me about the article, from a resident in this community who had shared 2 other posts that have not been brought up tonight. One of them was a cartoon that painted, featuring President Obama and mentioning Muslim community in a derogatory term. And I understand that you have also participated in iftars here to celebrate our Muslim community. I would think first and foremost that anybody in an elected position, and particularly working for municipal government, would think long and hard and give great consideration to what you are sharing, whether it's in print, on social media, and in conversation. In addition to that, back in March, shortly after the incident in Montville and in Mendham Township, followed by the beginning of social media posts, fake news, derogatory comments, racist comments, sexist comments by public officials in both of those towns, and then in Newton, I actually consulted with Rachel Marlowe because she attends council meetings on a regular basis. She was not able to be here this evening. And I suggested, in the best interest of the township, sir, that she talk with you and Mayor Rob Greenbaum about instituting a social media policy. And I actually have on record here that I'd like to hand to Andrew a copy of the email from April 12th, where Rob instructs you as council president, CCing Rachel Marlowe, to please speak to all elected officials as to posting only appropriate things on social media. We as elected officials have to hold ourselves to a higher standard. That was followed up by you within a minute later, 4 minutes later, CCing Rachel to Rob. Thank you, Rob and Rachel. I will speak with them all. Joe. In a matter of several days after that, you were posting really derogatory memes on your Facebook post. And I recognize the First Amendment. There's no right to hate speech. And as one of the leaders in this community, particularly serving as president of the council, you set the tone for everybody else that's on this dais. You also represent everybody in this almost nearly 30,000 population community. Almost 5,000 of us happen to be registered Democrats. And as the gentleman said before, people register as independents, as Republicans, and as Democrats. I'm not going to get into a conversation with you and talk about how absolutely repulsed I was that you would share a meme that portrays people who have the right to register to vote based on their values and morals in the way that you frame people, sir. So I took it upon myself to contact the League of Municipalities. They have guidance for council. And I'm sorry that Mayor Greenbaum isn't here tonight, but I'm sure that this is on public record. There are multiple townships and boroughs, municipalities in the state of New Jersey with comprehensive social media policies. There are several that I've provided here that I thought perhaps the council could take a look at. In particular, there is one in Mendham that specifically rates to this, and that is, if employees, and yes, we realize that you are paid by taxpayer dollars as council people to represent all of us, identify themselves as township employees on their personal social media accounts, and even those who do not, they should be aware that he or she may be viewed as acting, excuse me, on behalf of the township, as no such employee shall knowingly represent themselves as a spokesperson, post any comment, text, photo, audio, video, or other multimedia file that reflects negatively on the township, expresses views that are detrimental to the township's mission, or undermine the public trust, which is what I think you're hearing tonight, or is insulting and offensive to other individuals or to the public in regard to race, religion, sex, or national origin. Township employees are encouraged to exercise extreme caution posting photographs of themselves or in situations where they can be identified as township employees. As an employee of the township, sir, because you are paid by the taxpayers, I believe that your behavior, not just recently, but over time, has not demonstrated the best interests of the public, have not refrained from these particular policies. I also recognize the township does not have...
over your 5-minute limit.
Okay, let me hand this over. This is also from the staff attorney at the League of Municipalities. There's a link here with a number of resources all over the country that are available to local municipalities. And I thank you for your time. Council, I would also encourage you to make a strong censure of President Nicastro's actions and behavior on social media. It is not good to reflect this for the township, for the rest of you, or for any of the people that are here in this room or reside or do business or go to school, play, work in this township.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Does anyone else at this time wish to be heard? You can. You can.
Excuse me, you might want to hear this. First of all, Joseph Fleischner, 34 Karen Place. There is no such thing as a registered independent, just so you understand that. You're either registered Republican or registered Democrat. Now, as far as the Mount Olive Chronicle, I'm not even going to get into Mr. DeCastro again. The Mount Olive Chronicle has published stories that I have called Phil Garber on, headlines that said, Phil, that's not true. When he talked to him, oh, I didn't know that. So just because it's in the Chronicle doesn't mean it's true. And Phil and I have known each other for many, many years. Just because it's on the front page of the Mount Olive Chronicle doesn't mean that it's factual. Because I've called Phil on many occasions. He thought that that Staples was still where Sky Zone is. So let's just deal with facts. Now, I can understand people getting upset, but there's also another story here. And I'm going to finish up. There's 28,000 people in Mount Olive. What is the percentage here? I
Joe,
saw
you
the
have
Democratic booth at
Excuse
Into
me,
the microphone, Joe.
Joe, you have to speak into the mic so we can
Okay.
pick you up.
I saw the
And
Democratic booth.
If I may interject, Joe, and this goes for anybody speaking. Your comments are supposed to be directed at council and not
Okay,
at the
I'm sorry.
audience.
I'm sorry. Council, the bottom line is, just because it's in the Chronicle doesn't mean it's true. Today, the UN sanctioned Israel. Never said a word about Hamas, what they're doing. I'm just back from Israel. I was there. Let me tell you, what we see on the news today is not what's happening there. It's a lot safer there than it is here. 5-year-olds walk by themselves to school. Okay, thank you.
Thank
I
you.
have one, like, Joe,
This is for the
just one thing.
Please don't get into
No, it's a different thing. Okay. I just wanted to clarify something for Joe.
Again, Shelley Morningstar from Bud Lake. We're not here to discuss the Chronicle. With great sincerity and concern for the reputation of this township, the council, the mayor, and in particular you, President Nicastro, who does have a long history of doing wonderful things in this community, that is why this comes as a complete shock. I'm not going to buy the deflection. I'm not going to buy overlooking the severity of this. You're hearing from people that there are really big concerns about this for all public officials, for people who take leadership roles. We're not here to talk about a political situation. This is about the best interests of the township, and I'm asking you to give great consideration to what you said and how you apologized, and to your own actions. You set the tone, and when you do it well, it's fantastic. I'm impressed with the work that you've done as just a citizen here. You have a compassionate heart. It's the thinking, the lack of boundaries. You represent all of us. And you're a model for our children.
Thank you.
My name is Joe Ouimet. I live at 6 Tracy Lane, Bud Lake, New Jersey. I've been a resident for 20-something years.
Joe, could you speak louder, please?
I'm sorry. I'm lost my voice. I'm talking all day.
Good, I thought it was my ears.
Yeah. You know, I've known Joe for 50 years. He's been part of my family, his family. We've done everything together. I have 4 daughters that I've raised, that my daughters love Joe. And anybody that knows me knows that I do anything to protect my daughters. Joe doesn't have a racist or sexist bone in his body. You know, he puts these things on Facebook and people react to them. But he didn't say it. He took a post, and then you didn't see what he responded to, how ridiculous that statement was. And I wasn't going to speak, and Joe knows, I hate getting in front of people talking. But I listened to what people were saying, and I read some of the comments about Joe. And you know what? He's a public figure, so he's a big boy. He can handle whatever you're saying about him. But then I read, hey, he owns a newspaper. Hey, let's go after his advertisers. So I thought, my God, now they're not even going to attack Joe.
they're going to attack his wife, his children. And then I said, well, wait a minute, if they do that, he employs people. Now they're going to attack his employees, their spouses, their children. And then it said, the businesses, if they advertise with him, what are they going to do? They're going to attack that business if they continue to advertise with him. What's going to happen? You can see this going on and on. That business is going to attack that person, their spouse, their children, and employees of that business. The same thing is going to happen. So everything we're saying about Joe, and we don't like what he wrote, and you know what? I don't, but I'm offended by what I saw. But I didn't see that being taken down from that site. So we're all offended by different things. And you know what? Joe put that thing, and I just listened to what he said, and he said, hey, I'm sorry if it offended people. It was on a private setting, where I shouldn't say private, but to people that he knew. And somebody grabbed it. I'm talking, though. I respected your speech, and I didn't interfere. Okay? All I'm saying is, you know what? Joe apologized. He said this and he said that, all right? And we know all the good things he's done for this town. And I can honestly say one last thought, is that Mount Olive is better with Joe Nicastro in this town and not out of this town. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have anything?
My name's Catherine Neese. I'm at 36 Aldersgate Circle in Bud Lake, and I'd like to read something to you, Mr. Nicastro, that you posted. The Democrat Party is the world's most successful hate group. It attracts poor people who hate rich people, black people who hate white people, gay people who hate straight people, feminists who hate men, environmentalists who hate internal combustion engine, and a lot of bratty college kids who hate their parents. However, the real secret of the party's success is that it attracts the support of journalists who hate Republicans and who therefore work tirelessly to convince the rest of us that we should vote for Democrats. How am I not to take this as offensive as a Democrat, Mr. Nicastro? I really would like for you to explain.
Because as I said in my statement, it was just a matter of, in the statement I had said, I do not lump everybody in there. It's a Democratic Party. I didn't say everyone. There's extremists on both sides. And that's an extreme case, just like there's extreme right. And that's all I said, and the same in my statement. So it's not meant at everyone that's a Democrat or everyone that's a Republican. I've criticized all the same way.
Okay, because it starts off the Democratic Party.
Party, not individuals, because every individual is different. Some are extreme, some are not. That's all I was stating.
I'm not feeling it. Okay. I'm really not feeling it. It's offensive. It's offensive to me. It's offensive. My husband served 20 years in the Marine Corps. It's offensive to him. You don't see the people that you're offending when you put stuff like this on your page. And I don't know you. You may very well be a nice person. This doesn't present a very nice picture of you. I would like to believe that you are, but when I see stuff like this, I'm not feeling that you're a nice person. I see a man that's supposed to represent me that has a lot of really contempt and disdain for me. I'm a Democrat. I'm so disappointed, and I don't understand how anyone can see that this is not offensive. It's terribly offensive to me, to my husband, to every one of them out there, all of us. I hope you sincerely rethink from now on what you post. I sincerely do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Stephanie Rodriguez, and I live at 164 Clover Hill. Mr. Nicastro, you posted on your Facebook page a photograph of Whoopi Goldberg that was altered to show her wearing a shirt with Donald Trump on it as he is being shot in the head. You claim that you did so because you were trying to show media bias, but my question to you is, how are you abating the situation by spreading more fake news, and what do you think you're accomplishing by posting these things? You also posted memes that make light of sexual harassment in the workplace. describe Democrats as a hate group, further perpetuate the myth that most minorities and African Americans are on food stamps, and memes that describe Democrats as libtards. How are you serving our community by posting these things on your Facebook page that alienate a portion of the town? And were you not elected to serve everyone, not just those that share the same political beliefs as you? By doing this, you are further dividing people at a time when we already have a toxic political environment, and adding to the fake news that already pervades the internet. These posts were created by someone whose sole intention was to create division. They are harmful to the community, and I don't think that you realize that they are hurtful as well. I went back and looked at your website that you created when you were running for council, and on the website you said that you asked yourself, if I run, what can I bring to the council and how can I serve the community? I want to ask you today what you think you are bringing to the council and how you think you are serving the community with your social media posts. And I also want to add that by you sitting here and saying you're splitting hairs and you're saying you said the Democratic Party, not the individual, it negates your apology that you said earlier. Because when you sit here and you defend yourself, or defending your posts and all your, it's basically not owning up to what you posted.
Thank you.
I'm Susan Caulfield. I live at 17 Chickadee Road in Bud Lake, New Jersey. And I'm here to speak to you, Joe, about, not about you. We're not attacking you as a councilman or the president of the council. That's the position you hold, and that's why it makes this so important. We're talking about the posts that you did, past, present, hopefully not future. I'm very heartened at your apology. I do think that it was, you kind of pulled your punch with it. And I know that you've done a lot for this community. I know in the past few months, I've seen how many hours you guys put in and what you're doing, where you're going. It's a lot more than just what anyone sees. But you are a town council person. You are an elected official of Mount Olive. Maybe that's why some people don't run. They don't want their Facebook scrutinized like that. I work for the Board of Ed. I have to be very careful what I put on my Facebook. And what I specifically wanted to mention to you, just as on a personal note, is that I've heard the word libtard before, and I feel like, you know, if you guys want to use that as your locker room talk or whatever, that's fine. I'm pretty tough. I can take whatever you want to throw at me as a Democrat, as a woman, as a, I don't know, someone who supports people that maybe you don't understand. But one thing that I found highly offensive about that word libtard is that it's an offshoot of a word that means that you are intellectually challenged. And I don't see how anyone can use that word. We teach the students at the high school not to use the word that that's alluding to, and we understand what it means. It has tard on it. We know what that means. I'm not going to say the word because I choose not to use that word ever. And I would never call you anything, or anyone in your party, or anyone, period. I don't attack on my Facebook, but I'm just a citizen. I have like 90 followers. But if anybody wants to come after me, they're free to do that. What are they going to do? Come to my house? I'm not up here running the town. You know, I heard a few of the things that were posted, and I don't know, I'm an active member of the Mount Olive Democrat Committee, and we're not out to destroy you or your business or anything like that. We're standing up for these posts. What they represent, whether you meant it to or not, is really irrelevant. What they represent, and to make sure that you know and that you do something about it, and to make sure that everyone else knows and that we're watching and that this town is our town also, And if anyone else posts that kind of crap, we'll be back up here again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I can just take the last couple minutes from my time just to say, to address the gentleman who, I hadn't heard anything about boycotting businesses or advertising or anything like that, but it was the mayor in the article, the newspaper article, who said, if the public wants to censure you for what you've done, that's also their right. And so I think, you know, if it has consequences, it has consequences. And I think that's, you know, as you have freedom of speech, we have freedom of where we spend our money. And I mean, I haven't seen it. You know, and I don't know who posted it. I don't think it was the Democratic
You
Party.
can't have conversations back and forth from the podium to the audience because it has to be picked up on the mic.
So, anyway,
Understand.
I'm
Thank you.
sorry also that the mayor failed to show up at this meeting, because I think he, you know, he should take some responsibility. When you all ran for council this last time, you were his team. I think that was the term, and now I don't feel like he's taking any responsibility for the team playing. And you know, if people, as the leader of that team, he should take some responsibility. So I'm disappointed that he's not here.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yep, just state your name and address, please.
Lori Patine, 24 Woodland Road, Mendham Township. I'll be really quick.
That's fine.
I don't know you. I don't know you at all, only from what I've read in the paper. But having gone through something similar, something that stuck with me was when someone much wiser than me got up at the podium where I live and said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else need to speak? Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Cheryl Conway, 3 Willow Court, Flanders. I do know Jonah Castro. I've worked with him for many years. He's my boss. I'm a reporter. I'm an editor for all of his newspapers. To be honest with you, I'm really not prepared to speak because I've been on deadline, and I just found out about this today. I do not read the Chronicle often. I don't have time, and half of the stuff in there I find to be false information. I have people that contact me all the time complaining about information that's in that paper that is false and wrong. They come to me to try to share the truth. I have a conflict often with that because the man that I work for, his papers cover all positive news. I don't know if you people read all of his papers that I write for, but every single article we write is all positive, nothing controversial, nothing negative. I can't report on half of the bad stuff that goes on, and a lot of times I'm grateful for that because a lot of it is ugly, and it rips people apart, it destroys their reputation. Half of it is negative, and half of it is not reported on correctly. You have to report on both sides of the story. What I read today in the Mount Olive Chronicle disgusted me. I used to work for that company, and I can't believe how one-sided it was. I wasn't contacted. I've worked for the man for many years, I think 10 years probably. I'm a female. I do not find him to be sexist. He's never had a sexist comment at the time that I've been in the office, personally, anything. And he is not a racist. I actually have an interracial family. My husband is black. He is not, one part of him is racist at all. So to come at a man and call him, label him, slander him as a racist and a sexist is disgusting. Facebook, everybody has Facebook. That is a social media outlet, okay? My children have Facebook. Children post stuff all the time that is incorrect. Adults post stuff all the time. You can have private, or you can have people view your Facebook. Jonah Castro is a public figure. He has strong opinions about things. He posts them on Facebook. People take them out of context. I found that the posts that were in there today, he was stalked. You're going to go back years on everything that somebody has posted. I don't find the purpose in that at all. He wasn't questioned about those posts. He's allowed to have an opinion. Whether people blow up the opinion in a newspaper article is one thing. He's a professional, and I did read in the article that Democrats are going to get advertisers to not purchase his advertising, to destroy him now and his business. That affects me. That's my job. That's my livelihood. I have 6 children. And I'm a Democrat. I am proud to be a Democrat. I have nothing against this Republican man over here, or any Republicans, or any Democrats. You don't attack human beings. Not in a newspaper, not anywhere. My advice to you, maybe, for social media, I don't post on Facebook. I don't. I use Facebook as an outlet for information, but I don't post. I stopped posting stuff about my family. People judge you. Even my own mother, if I post something about my in-laws, oh, I hung out with my in-laws, she's going to be upset. She's going to be jealous because she sees these pictures of me and my in-laws. If I post stuff about all my children, people who don't have children get annoyed with me. Oh, how could she post stuff about her children? So I stopped. My husband doesn't go on Facebook anymore. I don't like it. So, but that's my opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion, just as Joe Nicastro is entitled to his opinion. I think that's all I need to say. Like I said, I wasn't prepared for this moment, and I'm not a very good speaker. I'm a good writer. If you want to read my articles, you'll learn a lot. You'll learn a lot of good stuff in the Mount Olive News. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have anything else?
Vincent Desimone, 303 Pleasant Hill Road in Flanders. I have spent the last 28 years working for 2 Fortune 100 companies. And one of the things that I hear about in our annual training and frequent emails is the value of diversity. Diversity is what makes America great, and diversity is good for business. And the companies that I've worked for make a point and spend lots of money on training programs so that everybody gets that message and understands that it's right for the country and is right for our businesses. So you are a leader, and as a leader in this country and in this community, it is incumbent on you to set the right tone. I'm not going to get into what you did or didn't say and what you meant or didn't mean, but you are a leader in this country. And now, more than ever, we need leaders to step up and embrace inclusion and diversity. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you for
much.
listening.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Anyone else have anyone else from the public? Please go up to the podium, Karen. Just the podium, please.
Please direct all comments to the council, please.
Direct it that way, Susie. Hi, how are you? Karen McConnell. I'm not saying my address. Stedwick Drive, Bud Lake.
She can say Stedwick Drive.
There's your town council.
Please, no comments between audience members.
Hi, how are you? I know the Democrats very well, as you can tell. Karen McConnell, 8 Stedwick Drive, Bud Lake. I'm here to defend Joe Nicastro. He's a wonderful man. I'm obviously a Republican. Joe is a wonderful man. I know him personally, professionally. I worked for him for a short period of time. I just personally didn't work out. He has a heart of gold. Him and his wife, Mary, give back to the community very well. I've had tragedy in my life, and they've supported me. I'm a board of directors from Autism Speaks. They give back to that nonprofit very well. He would never offend anyone. He just has a great sense of humor, sometimes a fuzzy sense of humor, and he just puts it out on Facebook. So you need to have a grain of salt. I've read some things that some followers, the Democrats, post on their Facebook pages when they were running for office, and that's up for debate too. They were bashed the Mount Olive Police Force when they were running for office, and I'm not a fan of that. So that could be up for debate also. And that's another character. And I'm just here to defend Joe. He's a great person. I don't think anyone should ban his businesses. That's all.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Just again, Shelley Morningstar, you have the address on record, 3rd Street in Bud Lake. First of all,
ma'am, I'm sorry, but you've spoken twice already to your
I know,
limit.
but
this is the 3rd time, and we have to let
that's
other
right.
people
This is
speak.
important to me, and I want it to be very, very
The council
clear.
has set a time limit.
I
and
understand
everybody
that.
has to abide by that,
And I'm
including
staying
you.
within the 5 minutes, but I have an opportunity to speak again. Joe, no one is here to attack you. The fact that we are actually, excuse me, I have an opportunity.
No, can't speak.
Can it, please?
Yeah, point of order. We have, please, no speaking in the audience, please.
If I may interject, if the public does not follow the procedure of limiting their comments to 5 minutes, it is this council's purview to close the public portion. So I would highly recommend that we stay within the 5-minute limit to allow everyone to speak. This is not, unfortunately, this is not a forum for debating back and forth, especially among members of the public. It is the opportunity for you as the public to address the council. We had already stated this is a 5-minute limit per person in aggregate. It does not mean that you can come up multiple times, 5 minutes each. So please be cognizant. Do not ruin it for everybody else. Thank you.
In fact, it wasn't on record as an aggregate or per person. It was 5 minutes. Joe, nobody's here attacking you. We're actually talking about the posts that were posted attacking other people.
I understand.
And that's what you read in your remarks.
Correct. Thank you.
Right. We're not here talking about anybody else. And this is not an attack on you. It's a concern about your actions and the decision that you made each time, particularly following the April 12th, 2018 email where you recognized the importance of talking to your fellow council people. So I'd like it to go on record that my question is, when is the Mount Olive Township Council going to implement a comprehensive social media policy that falls under the Code of Ethics to protect everybody? Most importantly, the people who live here and the brand of the township.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public?
$7.48. Tom Sullivan, 11 New Street, Bud Lake. I'd just like to say for all the people here, you give countless hours. I never knew how much local government puts in, how much time they put in. And time is something we never know how much we have. And you all choose to spend it here. In particular, Mr. Nicastro, who keeps everything moving down here and works very hard. I've known him a short time, but I think he's a man of high moral fiber. I also say, and I'm not really cognizant of what the posts are or are not about, that there's a freedom in the press, and there's a freedom in Facebook and in social media. And doing anything at all in life may offend somebody. Homer Simpson once said, trying is the first step to failure. So if you don't succeed, never try again. That's kind of funny, but there's truth in that. Mr. Castro, thank you for all you do.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Oh, no worries. Hi, I'm Alan Fulton from 90 Waterloo Road in Bud Lake. I'm not even sure how to follow up a Homer Simpson quote. but I'm going to try. My comments are really for the council because what's happening has happened before. Back in 2013, a nobody named Justine Seiko sent an ill-worded tweet, hopped on a plane, and was fired before the plane landed. That was the digital lynch mob that has spawned since then in the last 5 years. A bunch of people, and even people today who don't know you, have come up to this podium and expressed their concerns. Maybe they're looking to angle on your business, impede your livelihood, like they did with Justine Seiko. It only took a few hours for her to be jobless. And what this set is a terrible standard. That anytime that somebody gets offended, is that they're going to go after a person personally. They're going to go after your livelihood, your family, your business. It sets a really poor precedent for this town. It took 5 years for it to get here, and I'm disappointed that it did. Personally, yeah, you put some stuff up on Facebook. The people that are here hating you hated you anyway. Let's be honest about that.
That's not true. It's a misrepresentation.
No comments from the public, please. Direct comments to council.
Probably true. Anyway, so going forward, should those posts be more guarded? Absolutely. Sitting up here tonight watching this dumpster fire burn for the last hour and a half is beyond ridiculous. I gotta leave, I gotta go to get to the airport. I got things to do. You guys have always had my support over the years. I hate coming up here, I hate seeing you, but I really hate coming up here for this kind of shit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Susan Desimone, 303 Pleasant Hill Road in Flanders. I just want to say that I don't think tonight is a dumpster fire at all. We live in a democracy. I think it's important that people are voicing up and engaged in their communities. I don't know you at all. I don't know this town council at all. But what I would like to say after being here for an hour and a half is that it is very clear to me that what has happened here is a failure of your leadership. I mean, you are in a leadership position. It's not about whether or not you're a nice man or a good guy or a great buddy at a picnic. It's about the fact that you are the president of this community's town council and here to represent every single member of this community. And you have offended people. Seriously offended people. I read your posts as a woman who's been sexually harassed in the workplace. I was very offended. As a Democrat, I was extremely hurt and offended. I'm not a libertard. I'm not stupid. I'm not blind. I'm patriotic. I'm hardworking. And I was very offended by your posts. And you know what? As a person in a leadership position, you should be very, very careful about your words. Words matter. And you are here to represent this entire community. And I hear what people are saying about Facebook and what people put on Facebook, but you can't do that because you are the president of the town council. You are the leader of this group. You are the leader, one of the leaders of this community, and you cannot put your thoughts and your feelings on a social media platform like a Facebook. You just cannot do that. And what you are hearing from a percentage of your constituents this evening is a failure of leadership on your part. And you need to take responsibility for your words and your actions. You are not a child. You are a grown person in this country, in this community, in this town. I, sir, would ask you to go home tonight and think about all of this feedback, and maybe it's time to consider to do something else. You have served your community well. Maybe it's time for you to resign and to move on and to let someone else take up the mantle here, because you have failed as a leader with your words and your actions, which you need to take responsibility for, no one else. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public?
My name is Joe Bacher. Cheryl, as you said before, I wasn't prepared for this at all.
Just need your address,
I
Joe.
from Florida.
Yeah.
I live in Florida. I lived on Vista Drive in Flanders. And I could just tell you this, I'm only here because I heard about it, and I've known Joe for probably now 14, 15 years. Probably speak to him 3 times a week because he's one of the finest men that I've ever met in my life. Sexist? Oh my God, not even close. A racist? I have black people in my family. I know Cheryl. I know we got plenty in the neighborhood, and Joe's the first one with them. And he's their partner. It's just like he's a partner with many people in life. A leader, he's a born leader. It's a difference. And I've seen some smirky stuff out here. I've watched it. I have a pretty good sized job in my life. And I think there's more people here worried about advertisements than worried about other things. And this is all about the Democrats versus Republicans, just like everything else I hate in politics. This man works his butt off for this town. I lived it here for 14 years. I respect him, and I respect what he does. He's given up time from his family, going over there on holidays. How many people here go over and do Thanksgiving for the elderly, for the needy? How many people do that? And how many people in this room do it? I'm talking to the council, ma'am, the one that's on the advertisement class. So I'm saying to you is, this is enough. The man, this is an attack, this is a witch hunt. That's what it really is, in my eyes. God bless you, Joe. You're a great man.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public?
Hi, my name is Stacy Strom. I live at 71 Fairmont in Chester. I'm hearing a lot of, I don't know Joe, and it sounds like there are a lot of people that are saying what a wonderful man he is, and I'm sure sounds like he's done a lot of great things, and I'm hearing that from also Democrats and Republicans, because obviously there's a lot of strife between the two here. But this isn't about whether or not Joe is a nice man. It's about whether the council is going to do anything to limit whether Joe or anybody on the council is going to be able to put whatever they want on Facebook. Obviously, what he has put on there is offensive. And it's up to you guys on the council to make sure that somebody else on the council doesn't post that. I mean, I think that's all that anybody wants, is that there's some regulations in place that things like that cannot be posted on the council, and that some kind of consequence happens with Joe so that it doesn't happen again. Nobody wants to see things like that. They were offensive. They were racist. I guess there's a question about whether or not there was actually a sexist post, but that can't happen when you're in the president of the council. So something needs to be done, and I think it's up to the council to make that decision on whether or not you're going to make any kind of regulations about that.
Ma'am, I'd like to respond to that, if I may. From a legal perspective, while a town can have a social media policy that's a policy, it can recommend, certain things as far as social media, as folks who work in private industry are aware. There's a fine line between that and actually regulating free speech. There's a strong constitutional problem with doing that. So you can't actually prevent elected officials from...
But is there a policy in place?
You can't put a law into effect.
Okay, is there a policy in place for it?
Yes, there's absolutely a social media policy. It's a policy which is recommended by our insurance company, which the township has adopted. So there is a formal...
And what is that?
Well, it's 4 pages long. I could, if you want to put in an open request, I could provide it to you this week.
Okay.
I just wanted to make that distinction, and I understand, what you're saying, but you can't make a law that says that prevents someone from free speech.
But there is a policy in place, and did Joe go against that policy?
I can't speak to that, and this isn't the appropriate forum to discuss that.
Okay, thank you.
Forgive me. I was going to leave my reserve my comments till the end, but I must address this lady's comment where she overtly called Joe's comments racist. As one of the 2 minority members on this council, I am offended that you would even call not only Joe a racist, but his comment. If that is anything that's going to be offensive, it's going to be labeling somebody a racist based on your interpretation of a post, and you only got a snippet of it without any background or context. That, to me, is offensive. I would, number one, if you wish to speak, well, you ran out of time. I am allowed to address anybody's comments that are addressed towards council. So I am within my purview to say that. I was going to reserve all my comments to the end, but unfortunately I had to interject at this time because the second you called Mr. Nicastro a racist, I had to speak up, and it would be remiss. There's no distinction between somebody doing something racist and whether they are racist, in my opinion. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to be heard? Do we have anyone else? If you'd like to just name and address, please.
Yeah, Joel Meese, I'm at 36 Aldersgate Circle,
Yep.
Bud Lake. I spent 20 years in the Marine Corps,
Thank
and then
you.
I came to Mount Olive, 22 years here in Mount Olive in the corporate world. What I read, okay, would not be tolerated. That's bottom line, would not be tolerated. I don't know you. I'm sure you're a great guy. I've listened to everybody here, both Democrat and Republican, who have said you're a great guy. But you are responsible, okay, for what you say and the actions that you take and what you put on Facebook. That's all I have to say. You need to be careful with what you put out there. We should all be working together here. Mount Olive is a great place. Again, I've been here for 22 years, Morris County my whole life. And I love this place, but you need to really be careful. It wouldn't be tolerated in the corporate world nor in the Marine Corps. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for your
Thank you for your
service.
service.
Anyone else from the public at this time wish to be heard? Anyone else? Seeing none, then we close the public portion, and I thank everyone for their comments. Council comments at this point. Ms. Leybow, do you have anything to say? Daniel, I'm sorry. Starting down, I missed in between.
Mr. President, I did not read the article, the offensive article, because I was out of town. But based on what I've heard, it was wrong for that article to appear in that paper. And so we owe the public an apology. And so what I can say is that I will be urging members of the council to do something, make a public apologize to the public that we should not be accommodating those kind of comments in our write-up in a newspaper, whether it is Chronicle or whatever it is. So we are going to address all your concerns, and I think what you could do is that you can forgive us because we had never had this kind of situation before. But basically, I can't defend it because it was offensive to some people. So whether it was done in a right way or not, but we should accept that it was our fault to have let it happen because we represent the people and we are supposed to set an example. Comments which are offensive are not acceptable to members of the Council of Mount Olive Township.
Thank you, Mr. Amiata. Ms. Leybow?
Yes, I just wanted, because I'm a stickler for making sure we do things the way, I have to address Mr. Fleischner. I worked the polls for years and years and years, and in the primary, if somebody comes and wants to change their party, if they're listed as independent, they can't. You have to be unaffiliated, so I just wanted to, I've known him for years, so he knows I'm a pain in the neck. But I also want to say that I'm sorry that some people were offended by Joe's comments and his posts, and because I do have the honor and the pleasure of knowing him for so many years, the couple, I didn't see all of them, but the couple that I saw, like for instance, the one about the the workplace. My mother went through stuff like that years ago when she was in work, and I took it to mean that look at how much we've changed. This was, I mean, my mother, there was this picture of nude women right above her desk for 3 years before they finally stopped putting it up there. It was very offensive to my mom. And years ago, they would do stuff like that. So when I read that, I'm thinking, yeah, thank God we don't do stuff like that anymore. That's the point that I took from the comment. I'm sorry that other people took it a different way. Sexual harassment, yes, I've been sexually harassed, I've been sexually abused. And I don't take these things lightly, not at all. So I think it's a lesson that we're all going to learn, that we'll just be more mindful, be more careful. And I know this is, I mean, this is terrible for Joe and his family to be going through this, because he never meant to hurt anybody at all. Was it a poor decision to make because it did offend people? Okay, so we move on. We don't do this again, okay? That's the way I look at it, and I can guarantee that Joe is never going to, and I don't mean to laugh about it, it's a shame when people get offended. Kathy, I'm sorry, but you try to do what you can, and we're all innocent until proven guilty is the way our law works. And I just feel like there's a lynch mob that's gone after comments that Joe made, and I don't think I know he didn't mean to hurt anybody. So two-dimensional world, which is social media, emails, text messages, all that stuff, is a very difficult world. If Joe had made one of these comments in front of somebody, you could have questioned him right there. Hey, what do you mean by that? That's terrible. It would have been done and over with. I hate the two-dimensional world because it just makes for a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of hurt feelings, and it gets carried away. That's all.
Thank you.
Oh, you're a good man, good friend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Mr. Manning?
I've known Joe quite a few years, and I've known him to be a super nice guy. And I just can't believe that people can attack him this way. But another comment I want to make is I regret that Phil Garber isn't here to be accountable for his actions. I wish he were here because I'd love to question him. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Mr. Stewart.
Joe, I just want to add something. Really, you reminded me of something. I don't know if any of you remember was it NJ.com?
Are you with the Chronicle?
Do you remember that?
You are? Let Phil know what I said. Thank you.
Remember years ago, NJ.com, and they had the Mount Olive Forum, and I was attacked viciously. I went on that under my own name because I wanted to bring information to the public, I was attacked by a couple of people for whatever reason. I was accused of doing things. I finally stopped posting there. One of the things that happened was my grandmother died. She fell down her stairs, and she broke her neck. And it was absolutely horrible. People were posting on there, oh, Colleen, you threw her down the stairs. Why don't you go throw somebody else down the stairs? All kinds of really horrible, horrible things. And it was to the point that I mean, these people were saying all these horrible things, and I didn't do anything to anybody. I was going for my, for a degree in law enforcement type things, and one of our classes we had to do a paper on, there was a young lady who had killed herself over MySpace comments. And in my group, the one girl, she said, why would anybody want to kill themselves over stuff on social media? I was going through it. I was ready to die because I was so embarrassed. I didn't want to leave my house. It was devastating. And so we did an article, we did our paper on my situation. My class evaluated, the gentleman who wrote the paper was a detective from Michigan. And it was amazing. It was a very serious learning experience. So it's very dangerous when we respond to these things, like anybody saying they want to destroy Joe's business. It's wrong to go after them personally. You have an opinion about something, call them up, talk to them, let them know how you feel. But I just wish that we would all respect everyone's opinion and, try to be nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Stewart?
I just would like to thank everybody for coming out tonight, sharing their opinions, and addressing them with us. I've been very proud of the last couple of years of being on this council and working with everybody here, and I will attest that everybody, and I'm saying everybody that's on this council, is focused on the community, period. Politics has nothing to do with anything that these people do up here. Everything will disagree with each other, but it's all about what's best for the community. I do echo Colleen's comments, and I spent 32 years in a corporate environment before starting my own business 15 years ago. I've had all the sensitivity training. I used to coach folks. I had a global operations that I was responsible for. Understanding the sensitivity, but I'm just like really shocked at how far off base this whole country is coming now. It's scary to me, especially everything that's going on. Echoing the points for Joe, I've known him for a number of years now. He is definitely not racist. And the stuff that him and his wife do for the community is second to none. And I just fully support everything that's going on. I apologize if folks have taken it offensively, but I do echo Colleen's comments and support that as well. But again, thank you everybody for coming out.
Thank you. Mr. Roman?
First off, I'd like to say that I appreciate everyone who took the time out to address the council on this issue from both sides. Even though I may disagree with 70% of the comments that were made tonight, I appreciate them nonetheless, because it's important to us as elected officials that we do get feedback. As some of you do follow me on Facebook, my friends are diverse. Not only in ethnicity, gender, what have you, but opinion. And I enjoy engaging with people of different opinions, much to the chagrin of my fellow council members and attorneys and wife. But I want to address the issue of the request to create an ordinance that would limit the speech of any council member. I'm going to unequivocally say I will never support such a thing, and if it were brought up by anybody, I would not vote for it. Okay? If you think that any action and or speech conducted by any one of us here is of the offensive in nature, there's already policies in place. You are free to make lodge a complaint with the ethics board. That's who you should go to. All right. I want to touch on the Chronicle for a second. Some of you may not know. A few years ago, Chronicle ran a story claiming that I was not a citizen. Now, this was before the term fake news was even around. All right. They were forced to make a retraction, obviously, but the damage was done. I mean, it was there. But, so I just caution you on reading the Chronicle or any other newspaper and taking what snippet that they do, where they take a picture of something without context. I'm pretty sure somewhere on my Facebook page there is a picture of a Confederate flag, and I can guarantee you if you read the comments, you will see something there, me not supporting such a thing. But if you just take a snapshot of it and post it and say, hey, you will be factually correct. Councilman Alex Roman has a picture of the Confederate flag on his Facebook. You will be correct factually. What you will not have is the context. So it's very important that before you go attacking anyone, and I'm not just talking about fellow council members or any other elected official, but also your friends or a stranger for that. Get the context first before you go not only attacking somebody personally, but besmirching them and trying to go after their livelihood. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roman. And I just like to thank everyone, both sides that came out and gave their opinions and their context, and I do take it under advisement. And my apology is sincere to people who don't believe that. People that know me know I don't like to hurt anybody, regardless whether I did it purposely or not. It bothers me when I do. So my apology is sincere, and I did not mean for that to happen to anyone. And I will take other advisement, and I appreciate everyone's concerns and comments, and it's not falling on deaf ears. And I do appreciate everyone who was here on both sides. We have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn to
So
the
moved.
public meeting.
Second?
Second.
Yeah. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
We're going to have a 5-minute recess before we get to the council meeting itself. If you hold on time. Is the recorder on?
Every year.
Everything on?
I go to,
Oh, not that recording, sorry.
Shelley, you can't leave without saying goodbye.
Too late.
You know, I have no.
Bye, Shelley.
You know, I said I'm sorry.
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night.
I'm going to shake
Thank you.
Grace's hand. I haven't had the chance to meet you yet in person. I wanted to do so during the break, but I didn't have enough. No problem. Good night.
Shelley, as always.
Shelley, I get a shake. I get one too.
I thought we did when we were over there. Thank you, John.
Thank you for coming.
Good
Thank
night.
you very
Good
much.
night, good night.
Good night. Thank
Okay,
you.
chopped up.
Thank you and welcome to the Mount Olive Township Council meeting for, what's May 22nd?
June 13th.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong night. June 13, 2018. Michelle, would you read the Open Public Meetings Act, please?
Yes. According to the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been given to the Daily Record. Notice has been posted in the Municipal Building, 204 Flanders Drakestown Road, Bud Lake, New Jersey, and notices were sent to those requesting the same.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Amianda.
Here.
Mr. Ferrante. Mrs. Labow.
Here.
Mr. Mania.
Here.
Mr. Stewart.
Here.
Mr. Roman.
Here.
Mr. Nacastro.
Here. Mr. Amianda, would you approve the minutes from the May 22nd, 2018 workshop and public meeting, please?
Yes, Mr. President. I make a motion for approval of minutes of previous meetings on May 22nd, 2018, work session and public meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Amianda.
Yes.
Mrs. Labow.
Here. Oh, I'm sorry,
Yes.
yes.
Mr. Mania.
Yes.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes.
Mr. Roman.
Abstain.
Mr. Nacastro.
Was I here?
You're
Abstain. We have 29 pieces of correspondence. Does anyone have anything on the correspondence?
No. Nope.
Seeing none, I open the hearing to the public on ordinance number 20-2018, an ordinance of the Township of Mount Olive, County of Morris, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 375 Vehicles to Traffic to apply to enforce the traffic regulations of Subtitle 1 of Title 39 to additional areas of Morris Chase Development. Mr. Mania. Catch you off guard.
I'm sorry.
It's you.
Oh, okay.
The ordinance for public
Oh, I
hearing.
wasn't prepared.
Yeah, you weren't prepared. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Ferrante's
I
not here, and I saw
apologize.
Ms. Leba was next, so I just went to you. Sorry about that.
I was getting ready
Want me to
just
take
in
it?
case.
You can take it. Alex can take it.
I move for adoption and final passage of ordinance number 20-2018.
Second.
Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Seeing none, close to the public. Any council questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Amianda.
Yes.
Mrs. Labow.
Yes.
Mr. Mania.
Yes.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes.
Mr. Roman.
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro.
Yes, ordinance number 20-2018 is passed on second reading, and I hereby direct the clerk to forward a copy of the same to the mayor and publish the notice of adoption as required by law. We have 14 resolutions. Does anyone wish to move any to non-consent? Mr. Roman?
I'd like to move resolution number 1 to non-consent.
Thank you. Mrs. Labow, would you move resolutions 2 through 14?
Thank you, Mr. President. I move resolutions 2 through 14.
Second.
Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Seeing none, close to the public. Any council questions, concerns? Roll call, please.
Mr. Amianda.
Yes.
Mrs. Labow.
Yes.
Mr. Mania.
Yes.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes.
Mr. Roman.
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro.
Yes. Mr. Roman, would you move resolution number 1?
I move for approval, non-consent resolution number 1.
Second.
Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Seeing none, close to the public. Any council comments? Mr. Roman?
I'd just like once again to highlight resolution number 1 that corrects a travesty that was befallen to one of our officers, and that it corrects a miscarriage of justice, in my opinion, and I look forward to having him back on the force.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Amianda.
Yes.
Mrs. Labow.
Yes.
Mr. Mania.
Yes.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes.
Mr. Roman.
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro.
Yes. Mr. Mania, would you approve the bill list, please?
I approve the bill list.
Second.
Any public, from the public wish to be heard? Seeing none, close to the public. Any council questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Amianda?
Yes.
Mrs. Leibau?
Yes.
Mr. Mania?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Mr. Roman?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes. Administrative reports?
Nothing to report tonight.
Thank you very much. Any old business? Seeing none, any new business? Oh, Mr. Rowan, I thought you were, sorry.
Old business?
No, this is new business.
Oh, new business. We're back on there, okay. New business.
I have old business.
Old business. Let's
Okay,
go
you-
back to old
I'll-
business.
I'll
back
go
to old
first,
business.
old business. Thank you. Monday evening, I went with Kathy Murphy and Phyllis, or I'm sorry, Thea Dunkel, and what's our historian's name? Margaret, yeah. We went there on we went to the county Monday night for our application presentation for our funds for the Seward Mansion. And it seemed very well received, so hopefully we will get the funding for our second round of the work that we need to do with the Seward Mansion. For the next part is to try and finish off the roof and the cupola. And the really wonderful part, I was telling Andrew and Claudia earlier, Thea had brought up the fact that when we changed our town logo, that it was a contest for the high school students, and they had designed a rendition of the Seward Mansion, and that was what was chosen. And I had my badge, Joe, the one that you guys had made up with our picture.
Oh, right,
So
yeah.
I happened to have that with me. I had my name tag on, but it was smaller. And I showed them all, and I said, it's really wonderful. Not only is the county's been helping us with the Seward Mansion, the town's been helping, and even our student body is embracing this beautiful part of our park. So it was a very nice meeting. So I'm hoping that we get the rest of the funds for that, which hopefully they've been very supportive. So that would be great.
Yeah, it would be really nice.
I know Joe doesn't agree with me, but it would be great. I meant Joe Fleischner.
Yeah, I figured that. I figured that. Thank
But
you.
it was still good, Joe.
Mr. Roman, any new business?
What I'd like to do, Andrew, I wanted to finally get the ball rolling on getting a comprehensive Mount Olive Township app. I know we spoke about it in years past, and money was always a consideration. But now that technology has changed, and I think we're also looking forward or planning on revamping the website, I think it's important that we try to see if we can integrate both things together. So if we can keep that in mind when we're not only preparing the budget, but also revamping the website.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other new business?
Yes, Joe.
Yes, Mr. Mania.
The Board of Education building on Route 46, that lawn hasn't been mowed in months. And I think we should get on them.
No, it was Monday.
It's an eyesore.
On Monday it was made.
Pardon?
I was there Monday, this past Monday.
You're talking about that building was sold, the one that was sold.
The one that was sold, right.
Oh, the old
Yeah,
one.
the old one.
The old one.
I'll send Chuck over.
It hasn't been mowed.
Okay.
Anything else, Mr. Mania?
That's it.
Any other new business? Seeing none, any legal matters?
Nothing to report tonight, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. Council reports, Mr. Amianda, anything on Board of Ed or seniors?
Yes, Mr. President. Board of Education held its work session meeting on Monday, June 11, 2018, at Administration Building at 6:30 p.m. Board discussed reports and took actions on personnel, curriculum, and instruction, business policy and administration items. Dr. Larry Reynolds, the superintendent, gave school progress reports. Dr. Reynolds gave a quarterly HIP report. The board approved June 2018 harassment, intimidation, and bullying report submitted to New Jersey Department of Education as required by law. They have the schools are supposed to do that every year. They have to submit that report. according to the superintendent, there has been a reduction in HIP incident reports. High school was a winner of Silver Award from Newsweek for its academic outstanding in the nation. This is the second time that our high school has been recognized and as one of the top schools in the nation. Reservations for renovation of 10th Elementary School is in progress. Our students are doing very well. The district will hold two graduation ceremonies this month on May 21st and May 22nd. High school graduation will be held in the field outside. Hopefully, we shall not have rain on that day. So people, the parents and visitors are excited to be there. Overall, our students are doing very well, and that was the brief of us, the brief report from the education board of education. Now, senior citizen liaison report. Now, Senior Citizen Club held its business meeting on Tuesday, June 12, 2018 at 11:30 a.m. The club discussed reports and future field trips. The president of the club reminded seniors to attend high school key club dinner and dance on Friday, June 15, for the seniors. That will be June 15, 2018, from 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And that was the end of the report for the seniors.
Thank you, Mr. Amianda. Mr. Stewart, anything on economic development or community action?
Yes, economic development, we're actually having a meeting tomorrow evening, and part of the agenda is going back through the mission as well as the plans for it going forward for the rest of 2018 and on. And the community action panel will be meeting again on the 28th of June.
Thank you very much. Mr. Labo, anything on open space, Board of Health, or stigma?
Board of Health meets next week. I didn't go to the Open Space Committee meeting on Monday because I was in Marshtown. And stigma, I continue to post on the stigma-free Facebook page all the time, and hopefully, you know, people are watching and reading and getting a message at some point. It's gonna have to. I'd like to have some kind of gathering one day and talk. You know, just get a group together. So we're still working on that.
Thank you very much. Mr. Maney, anything on legislative or planning?
Planning board, we have a meeting tomorrow evening.
Thank you. Mr. Roman, anything on Rec or Pride?
Nothing to report.
Thank you very much. Let me see where we are here. Anyone from the public wish to be heard at this time? Yep, whoever, go up and you know the routine, name and address.
Joe can't go up there again. No. The first time, Joseph Fleischner, chairman of the Environmental Committee. An email was sent to the administration today on behalf of everyone on the Environmental Committee. Chuck McGarty was nice enough to come and do a presentation for the committee on the Highlands redevelopment area around the lake. And the committee, after his presentation, had a discussion. We all agreed 100% that we would like, and if you check your emails, we would like to see the lake area, that immediate area, return to the way it was a green area years ago, and basically have it cleaned up and just as a green area, and if it means purchasing some buildings, et cetera, to do that. But we did send a memo to the administration, to the mayor, and Andrew, Chuck, and the entire council.
Yep, did see that.
So anyway, that's from the Environmental Committee, and it was 100%. Everyone agreed.
Which part is the green area?
Well, if you go back, because we do have members on the Environmental Committee, that I'm here 44 years, they've been here. And as I was reminded, and you'll find this all interesting, members of the council, when I was a child, I could not swim by Town Hall. I had to swim by we're at Pax Amicus. That was called the Jewish dock. Because of my faith, I was not allowed to swim by the town. You didn't know that?
No.
Okay, just like the Hofbrauhaus was the head of the Nazi headquarters many, many years ago, second floor. But anyway, I'm not here to, if you check your history, it's there. Now I would like to reiterate what I said in the workshop session. As someone who has lived here for more than 44 years, only John beats me, but I did come here as a child and I'm 74 years of age, so I don't know, maybe, what can I tell you? But I can honestly say, as I said before, politicians come, politicians go. I've been a registered Democrat. I was an independent, non-affiliated, and currently I am a Republican, as well as a member of the Republican Jewish Coalition. I can be on the record. And I can honestly say that Mr. Nicastro has done an outstanding job as president of the council, as a council member. I am so pleased that he is a member of your council because he works diligently for all the residents of Mount Olive. And I'm just thankful he's here. Thank you, Mr. Nicastro. You do an outstanding job. So that's all I really wanted to say because I love being with videotape.
We are also pleased that he's a member.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm like on the fence.
Thank you.
Behave yourself.
Thank you
all very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe.
Joe.
Anyone else from the public?
I think the social media stuff, I think we...
Name and address, I'm sorry.
Oh, Irene
Sorry.
Sergonis, 37 Mount Olive Road, Bud Lake. I think we're done with that. I just want you to understand, it wasn't a personal attack. It was against what you said. Just like as a parent, when my child does something bad, I say something about the behavior of what they did. But I have a question about the library. While I was working as an election worker, I was working with a woman from Netcong who was upset that she could no longer share in our public library. Now in Netcong, I think they come Thursday, some kind of a van comes that they can borrow books from, but it's in the afternoon. Now, Netcong has been a good neighbor of ours. I believe we have some other shared services. So I told the woman I would, try to find out. I told her about the council meetings, but she works in the evening. So,
Andrew,
do you guys know anything?
Yeah.
We did have a shared service agreement with Netcong, but the county pretty much forced us to not allow that agreement to happen, to move forward. I'll have to get more detail on it. I wasn't here when the agreement was started or disbanded, but I know it had something to do with the county not approving this type of an arrangement.
Well, you look into it and we'll see if we can figure out if we can do something. County always,
Now,
county or state.
Yeah.
Is that something, and Andrea, when you look into it, see if we can petition the freeholders, if there's something on their end that would need to change?
All the administrators within Morris County have tried, and
Okay.
I'll report
Yeah, please.
back with
Yeah,
the
let us
thank
know
you.
what it is and see if anything we can do. Appreciate that.
All right. That's
We will
all I
look
have.
into that and follow up.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Don't go away. Don't go away. It was the county. My wife is president of the Board of Trustees of the library,
Yeah.
and they fought to keep it. She thought it was disgraceful. Just, I can't really speak for her because then she'll yell at me, but she was not happy either, and it was the county that made changes to prevent the people from Netcong coming here. It was like, they couldn't understand it either, the library board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for clearing that up as well. Anyone else at this time wish to be heard?
I have a question. I don't know if anybody can answer this. Maybe Andrew could find out. If you belong to the county library, can you go to any other library in the county? Because I know some of them, you know, they're interchangeable with the books.
You can.
So is that's what I'm wondering, if maybe they wanted everybody to sign up through the county? But you could still, yeah, that's my question now, if we could find out if that's a procedure in place. I'm just, you know, trying to think what it could be. Doesn't make any sense to me.
Thank you. And since there was no more from the public, let's close to the public. Council comments, anything, Mr. Amianda?
No.
Ms. Leibau?
Yes, thank you. I just want to, I guess I was told after the last meeting that I had called everybody a lynch mob, and I wanted to say I wasn't calling anybody here a lynch mob. It was just the posts that are on Facebook about saying that they're going after your business is how it's like, that's how a lynch mob does. They just go crazy. And and so I certainly was not calling anybody here or anybody.
No, I know
it's just the way the attack on the post saying that they're going to go after the business. And I don't know. I don't think it was anybody here.
No, it wasn't.
I have no idea who it was.
It wasn't. We know it wasn't.
But the whole problem is when we do something like that, all of a sudden everybody jumps on board and they want to, you know, be negative, be mean, be nasty. And it doesn't serve any positive purpose. It's very, very negative, very hurtful. And it doesn't, and then what happens is their point is, please don't post stuff as you did, okay? And then all of a sudden, the rest of us were really upset that all of a sudden they're going after your business. And so that's it. So the point gets lost all the way across the board. And I also just want to tell everybody that tomorrow morning I'm going to the hospital. I have to have 2 stents put in. So hopefully I will make it through.
Oh,
and
you'll be fine.
I'll be back
You'll be
at
fine.
the next council meeting. And I know my buddy here, John, went through that, and he's doing great. So I'll be back in 2 weeks. Or 1 week, because, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Mr.
Well, the
Mania?
best of luck to you.
Thank you, Mr. Leibau. Mr. Mania?
None.
Mr. Stewart?
My comments were actually going to be wishing Colleen good luck and prayers for success for tomorrow. And again, thanking everybody that came out tonight from the township perspective.
Mr. Roman?
I too, Colleen, would like to wish you a good luck in your procedure.
Thank you.
And I look forward to once again engaging in you politically and on this dais.
Don't
and
forget,
disagreeing with you.
Don't forget I'm a minority as well.
There you go.
Yeah, you're like 1/3 of 1/5 Lenape or something like that.
Yeah, I'm a Lenape Indian. No, 50% actually.
You share something with Senator Warren.
Yeah.
I would, at this time, I would also like to congratulate myself on getting married.
No, congratulations.
I know you guys missed me the last meeting. Yes, condolences. Yes.
That's for your wife. No?
Surprisingly, I'm surprised nobody did send her condolences. But this being my second marriage, I must say it is an institution that 6-7 years ago I didn't think I was going to engage in, but
Here you are.
I'd like to publicly go on the record saying that I love being married. And that I hope every one of us up here experiences what I feel for my wife, and also anybody in the audience and listening to this, because in this day and age we hear about the old norms are going out of the way, that marriage is dead, but I think it's important for society and for individuals to make a commitment to one another. And I want to segue into that. When I first got elected, I made a commitment to the residents of Mount Olive, regardless of party affiliation, regardless of any other label. I made a commitment that I would work diligently to conduct my duties and make my decisions in the best interest of everyone. There has never been a decision that I have made, and I know that nobody here on council has made, that ever bothered to check off the person that I'm about to help, are they registered anything? Are they part of this group? Are they part of that group? Never. Never has anyone here, and I know I have never done. People email me all the time asking for help. Not once do I ask or check, well, are you registered this? You never. So we all work for the residents of Mount Olive, regardless of whether they are anything. And I hope to continue to work alongside Joe and everyone out here for the rest, as long as the public will have us, till death do us part.
All right, Alice, well, I'll be first. Congratulations on the marriage. You don't have to be the only one. I think I said enough this evening, and I appreciate everyone coming out. And Ms. Leibel, you know we spoke today. You're on the prayer list. You'll be fine.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure. At this time, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, everyone, for coming this evening.
I'm going to wish the doctor he's the one who has to do the good job.
Yeah,
You get to just lay
it's
there
true.
and
Who's your doctor?
Well, Dr. Rosen's doing the procedure. He does the procedures. My doctor's Dr. Watson in Morristown.
That's the place to go.
You know what's interesting
They
was
have
I
the best
wanted
nurses.
to go.